Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third session of the last lab by Clat Possible. We are bringing to you the top news items of the year, and this is the perfect preparation for the GK and current affairs section of the exam. So today, as you can see on the screen in front of you, we have all of the topics related to food and hunger. So that's the 80th anniversary of the FAO, the Global Hunger Index, the food price, and all the things related to that in India as well. The second broad theme we have for today is linked to the Vigyan Puraskar. These are the latest iterations of the National Science Awards. And linked with this, we are also going to do the big and important observances that are currently underway or that are happening in this year or in this decade. Okay. And the final topic we have in front of us is the International Solar Alliance. Now, recently, the ISA assembly also took place, and a lot of new initiatives were launched as well. So it's vitally important. All of these topics have come in the news in the last few months before Clat, and that makes it vital for us to cover all of these in depth. So let's make a start. So first we have the 80th anniversary of the FAO. What I've put together on the first slide is essentially the core details that are relevant for you when it comes to the Food and Agriculture Organization. Now remember, very important to remember, it's the 80th anniversary of the United Nations as well. And similarly, it's the 80th anniversary of UNESCO also. All three of these organizations were originally established in the year 1945. Okay, so as a broad theme, 80th anniversary of the UN, 80th session of the UN General Assembly, the 80th anniversary of the Food and Agriculture Organization, and finally the 80th anniversary of UNESCO. So all of these you should treat as a bundle of topics. So the basics of the United Nations are absolutely vital. But today, first, let's focus on the Food and Agriculture Organization. Remember, this is a specialized agency of the UN. Keep in mind, there are only 6 principal organs of the UN. That's the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Secretariat, the International Court of Justice, the Trusteeship Council, and the Economic and Social Council. Those are the 6 principal organs of the UN. Most of the other organizations you've heard of, that's UNESCO, UNICEF, FAO, ILO, and so on and so forth. All of these are called specialized agencies of the UN. So please be clear on this particular terminology. That's absolutely important for you to remember. Now, FAO gets established on the 16th of October, 1945, right? And that's why the 16th of October is observed as the World Food Day. So we're going to have a look at it in the next slide as well. Now, currently, the Director General of this organization is Q Dong-yu. Okay, he's from China. It's his second term as Director General of the FAO. Now, linked to this, we have to know the India connection. So who is that person who served as the first and only Indian Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization? That is Binay Ranjan Sen. Okay, so he provides the link of India to the FAO. Besides the fact, as you can see on the screen, India actually was a founding member of the Food and Agriculture Organization even before independence. Okay, the motto is something I quite like the motto of FAO. It's Fiat Panis, which broadly translates to let there be bread. So I find this very nice, very, very intriguing. Now, finally, remember that there are 3 broad organizations related to food. One is the Food and Agriculture Organization. Another is the International Fund for Agriculture and Development, IFAD, which is another one of the UN's specialized agencies. and finally is a program called the World Food Program. Now, all three of these organizations are headquartered in the same place, and that's Rome, Italy. Okay, so remember, when it comes to food, the birthplace of the pizza, Italy, is the headquarters of all of the food related organizations in the world. Okay, so that's a good primer on the FAO. It's the 80th anniversary. And importantly, I want to link for you the sustainable development goal that you see on the screen. So you have to remember that SDG number 2 is the one which deals with zero hunger. The second sustainable development goal is sustainable hunger. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So let's now move on to the next slide. So I've just put down a multiple choice question for you, which asks which of the following statements is incorrect. So always keep an eye out for questions like this in the legal section as well. Which of the following is correct? Which of the following is incorrect? Which of the following is not incorrect, which just means correct? Or the following are true except. In that case, you're being asked which option is false. So here we are being asked which of these options is incorrect or false. So based on the pointers on the previous slide, option A, of course, is true. India is a founding member. Option B is also true. Only one Indian, Binay Ranjan Sen, has been the Director General of the FAO. Option C tells us the World Food Day commemorates the launch of the World Food Program. Now, this is something that's not true. It's the founding of the Food and Agriculture Organization that is commemorated as the World Food Day. And option D, we have FAO, World Food Program, and the International Fund for Agriculture and Development are all headquartered in Rome, Italy. So this, of course, is also true. So in this case, what will be the best answer for the question, which of the following statements is incorrect? So the best answer will, of course, be option C, because the World Food Day commemorates the founding of the Food and Agriculture Organization. Now, this brings us, this is a good segue to the World Food Day. So it happens each year on the 16th of October. Now, what do we have to know about this? So obviously, World Food Day 2025 is the 80th anniversary of the Food and Agriculture Organization. So what was the theme this year? Have a look on the screen. It's on the image. It is hand in hand for better foods and a better future. So the theme of this year's World Food Day was hand in hand for better foods and a better future. Okay, so I hope that is clear. And finally, to commemorate the 80th anniversary this year, the FAO has also launched the Food and Agriculture Museum and Network. So this is something that's opening up at the headquarters of the FAO. We already know where that is, the birthplace of pizza. It's in Italy, in its capital, Rome. Okay, so that's about the World Food Day. Let's now come to the 20th Global Hunger Index. So each year on World Food Day, the Global Hunger Index or GHI is released. Interestingly, this year was the 20th time the Global Hunger Index had been released. Okay. Now, what I've done is I've framed it as a question, so you get to try it out. So let's have a look. Once again, the question is, which of the following statements is incorrect about the Global Hunger Index 2025? So option A tells us the report classifies India's level of hunger as double quotes alarming. Okay. So in the Global Hunger Index, they have a series of categorizations: alarming, extremely alarming, serious, and so on and so forth. So the question here is, in which category does India fall as per the Global Hunger Index? Okay. Now, in reality, this is the answer. because the report classifies India's level of hunger as serious rather than alarming. Okay. So this is the answer, but let's analyze the other points to get a comprehensive idea of the global hunger index. So option B for Bombay tells us what are the indicators that are measured when the global hunger index is being prepared. So there are four factors. They are undernourishment, child wasting, child stunting, and child mortality. Okay, so child stunting, child wasting, undernourishment, and child mortality. So these are the four factors based on which the global hunger index is prepared. This is how the rankings are created. Okay. So those are the factors you can see at the top of the screen. India's score this year was 25.8, which puts us in the serious category. Not low, not moderate level of hunger, not alarming or extremely alarming, but bang in the middle at serious. Okay. So that's the level of hunger in India according to the Global Hunger Index. Now, point three gives us this year's ranking, which India has achieved. And what is that ranking? It is 102nd out of 123 countries. Okay. That's not very promising. And for the past few years, the government has been disputing this ranking and saying that the methodology is not correct. But this is what the ranking is. So we have to remember what the ranking is for India. That's 102nd out of 123 countries. Now you might be wondering, there are 193 countries in the UN. Some people believe the number is even higher. But here they only rank the countries. The GHI ranks countries for which sufficient amount of data is available. Okay. And finally, who publishes this particular index? Who prepares this index? It's a group of organizations. The top two, the main organizations which prepare it are called Concern Worldwide and Welt Hunger Hilfe. Okay. I may be butchering the pronunciation here, but I'm just trying to pronounce it the way you can remember the spelling. So Concern Worldwide and Welt Hunger Hilfe, they are supported in this by the Institute for International Law of Peace and Armed Conflict. Okay, so that's it about the Global Hunger Index. Who prepares it? What's India's ranking and score? What's India's level characterized at? And what are the indicators that are used? Those are the factors that are important for us to remember when it comes to the Global Hunger Index released each year on World Food Day. Now, linked to this, I also wanted to cover the World Food Prize and link it to this famous Indian personality. I am sure you have all heard of him, the father of Green Revolution in India, Professor M.S. Swaminathan. Okay. So first, let's do the World Food Prize, which is given by the FAO each year. So the announcement was made early in the year, around May, and the prize has actually been conferred in the month of October. Okay. This was the institution of the prize was one of the initiatives of Norman Borlaug, who is considered the father of the Green Revolution. Okay. Remember, in the exam, if you are asked who is the father of the Green Revolution, that's it. The answer will be Norman Borlaug. And if you are asked who is the father of the Green Revolution in India, then our answer will be M.S. Swaminathan. Okay. So Norman Borlaug supported the idea of the World Food Prize. And in fact, the first or inaugural winner of the World Food Prize was an Indian, Professor M.S. Swaminathan. Okay. The latest prize given for 2025, the World Food Prize 2025, was won by Maria Angela Hungria. Okay. So you can easily remember the name. Her surname has the words for hungry. Okay. So Maria Angela Hungria. Okay. So these two, we have to know. The first winner, an Indian, M.S. Swaminathan, and the latest 2025 winner, Maria Angela Hungria. Okay, so that's about the World Food Prize. Now, interestingly, this year, the birth centenary of MS Swaminathan was being observed. What's a birth centenary? It's basically the 100th birth anniversary of Professor MS Swaminathan. Now, as part of those celebrations and those commemorations, a new prize was instituted for the first time. So this year, an award called the MS Swaminathan Award or Prize, the MS Swaminathan Award for Food and Peace. So this is a new award that's been created, and this year it was conferred by the Prime Minister himself. So who is it that has won the prize this year? Her name is Adimola Adenle. Okay, her name is Adimola Adenle. She is the inaugural, the first winner of the MS Swaminathan Award for Food and Peace. And this is a new award established just this year on account of his 100th birth anniversary. Whose 100th birth anniversary? Professor MS Swaminathan's 100th birth anniversary. Okay. In fact, last year, he had even been awarded the Bharat Ratna, right? Either last year or last to last year. Okay. So keep all of these things in mind. Finally, the last point on MS Swaminathan. Way back in 2004, a commission had been established. It was a temporary commission called the National Commission on Farmers. And Professor Swaminathan had been appointed the chair of this particular commission as well. Okay, so these are the important details when it comes to the World Food Prize. The first winner, MS Swaminathan. The latest winner, Maria Angela Hungria. Professor MS Swaminathan is the father of the Green Revolution in India. Who is the father of the Green Revolution in the world? It's Norman Borlaug. This is the 100th birth anniversary year of Professor MS Swaminathan. And in his honor, the MS Swaminathan Award for Food and Peace was instituted. And its first winner is Adimola Adenle. Okay, so that's about it. And finally, Professor Swaminathan used to be the chair of the National Commission for Farmers, established in the year 2004. Okay, so I hope that covers it. I hope there are no doubts about this. Let's now come to this last slide. Now, my apologies. What I've done is I've put together a whole bunch of related details on food and agriculture on this slide. Okay, so in India, what is the topmost scheme whose purpose it is to provide nutrition to the population of the country? That is called Mission Poshan. Okay, POSHAN. Now, you all know that the government likes creating acronyms for all of its schemes. So Mission Poshan, and remember Mission Poshan 2.0 was also launched last year in 2024. So what's the full form of Mission Poshan? It is the Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment. Okay, the Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment. That's the full form of Poshan. Okay, so Poshan Abhiyan 2.0 is the current top line government scheme providing nutrition and nourishment to the country. Okay, now two observances related to this which happen in India. Number one is National Nutrition Week, which happens on the first week of September. And second is Poshan Mah or Poshan Month, which happens in the month of September. Okay. The next, we should do the two top line ministers related to food and agriculture. So for food, the ministry is called the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Okay. Who is the minister for that? It is Prahlad Joshi. Okay. There's another reason we are going to read about Prahlad Joshi later in today's session. That's because he is also the Minister of New and Renewable Energy, as well as the President of the International Solar Alliance. Okay, so he is a relevant figure in terms of the Indian ministers. So he is the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Who is the Minister of Agriculture? It is the former CM of Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Okay. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is that India has passed a National Food Security Act, which provides rights and entitlements related to food. This is an act which was passed in the year 2013. A latest piece of information relating to farming and agriculture: the UN has declared that next year, or 2026, is going to be observed as the International Year of the Woman Farmer. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Later in this session, we're also going to take a look at some of the important years, decades, and days relating to science and technology. But here, since we were doing the topic of food and agriculture, I just thought I would mention for you that next year has been declared by the United Nations as the International Year of the Woman Farmer. The last 2 points: number one, you all know that MSP, or minimum support price, is an important issue in India. It's an important issue in politics, but more importantly, it's vital for the sustenance of the farmers and agriculturists of the country. Okay, it's a price which the government guarantees it will buy a farmer's crops at. It applies only to certain crops. But my question today for you is, who or which body decides where to set the minimum support price? Who provides that recommendation? It is this body in the Indian government called the CACP, or the Commission on Agricultural Costs and Prices. Okay, there were announcements about the latest MSP in the last few months as well. Okay, and the final point: you all know in India what is the food standards body. In India, the food standards body is called FSSAI, or the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. There is a similar body which has been created for the world, known as the Codex Alimentarius Commission. This is a body which was jointly created by the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the WHO, the World Health Organization. And what it does is to set international standards for various foodstuffs. Okay, now these are a lot of miscellaneous topics for you. But what I wanted to cover is, suppose there's a passage on the Food Day or the 80th anniversary of FAO. These kinds of things are the related things which could be asked of you, because CLAT at the end of the day tests depth in current affairs and general knowledge. Okay, so that's it on the theme of food and agriculture. Now let's shift to the Vigyan Puraskar. Okay, now earlier the government had different awards for different fields of science and technology. A couple of years back, the government sort of consolidated it into the Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, or the National Science Awards. Okay, these are considered as the highest recognition for scientists and researchers, and even in the field of technology. Now, just like the national awards of Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Shri, even Vigyan Puraskar has been classified into 4 brackets: the Vigyan Ratna, which is for lifetime achievement; the Vigyan Shri, which is given to a whole lot of people; Vigyan Yuva, so this is for the youth. This is the one which is now known as the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award. Vigyan Yuva is also called the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize. This is also received by a bunch of people. And finally, Vigyan Team. This is given to a scientific team. Okay. Now, these are the 4 categories. I don't want you to worry. We don't have to do points 2 and 3. The winners of points 2 and 3 are not relevant for us, because a lot of people are the recipients of these 2. The ones we have to remember for CLAT and for other competitive exams are point 1 and 4. So these days, what is the highest prize in science and technology in India? It is the Vigyan Ratna. Okay. And in 2025, who has won it? It is Professor Jayant Vishnu Narlikar, who has won it for the field of physics. One thing to remember is he's been awarded the Vigyan Ratna posthumously, meaning after his death. Okay, so that is the winner of the Vigyan Ratna 2025, Professor Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. Next, we have Vigyan Team, and here who has won it? CSIR Team Aroma. Okay, now you might be wondering what that is all about. So CSIR is one of the topmost scientific bodies in the country. It's under the government itself. It's called the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the CSIR. And Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar is considered as one of the founders of CSIR. Now, right from the start, who serves as the president of CSIR? It is essentially the sitting prime minister. So these days, who is the president of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research? It is India's prime minister, Narendra Modi. Okay, so that's a little bit of background on what CSIR is. And the team which has received this prize is called Team Aroma. Okay, aroma, of course, means a good or a positive smell. Now, the objective of this particular team was to develop good smelling cash crops which farmers can plant, and this would help them increase their income. Okay, so this was one of the projects in order to help farmers increase their income by sowing and harvesting aromatic cash crops, or cash crops which produce good smelling results. Okay, so that's the idea of the Vigyan Puraskar. 4 categories: Vigyan Ratna, Vigyan Shri, Vigyan Yuva, also known as Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, and Vigyan Team. Winner of Vigyan Ratna this year, Professor Jayant Vishnu Narlikar, posthumously for physics, and Vigyan Team goes to CSIR Team Aroma for agricultural sciences. Okay, so that's the Vigyan Puraskar, the Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar. This has just been announced in the month of October, very near to the exam and absolutely important. Now let's link up one or two topics related to science and technology. So number one, on this slide here, I've presented the 3 kind of related days which are observed in India. What are they? National Science Day, Technology Day, and Space Day. Now, I don't know, possibly one could have rolled all of these into one, but that's not the world we live in. We have 3 different days which are observed. So National Science Day happens earliest in the year on the 28th of February. Now, remember from, I think, session number 1, what does this commemorate? The discovery of Raman effect or Raman scattering by C.V. Raman on 28th of Feb 1928, for which he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. So the date of his discovery of the Raman effect or Raman scattering is observed as National Science Day. The theme this year, it's a long one, so let me read it out for you. It's empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovation for Viksit Bharat. So just get a gist of it. I know it will be a pain to remember the whole thing. Just get an idea. Okay. The second important day is the National Technology Day, which happens on the 11th of May. And why do we observe this? We observe this because this commemorates the date of India's second nuclear test, also called Pokhran 2, because they happen in a place called Pokhran in Rajasthan. The official name of this operation was what? Somebody? It was Operation Shakti. Okay. Remember, first nuclear test in Indira Gandhi's time, Operation Smiling Buddha. Second nuclear test in Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, called Operation Shakti. And National Technology Day basically commemorates the second nuclear test, or Operation Shakti, also known as Pokhran 2. This year, once again, one more acronym for you to remember. Truly, believe me, I have a lot of empathy as well as sympathy for all of you. And for English, if you don't know the difference, you should Google and check it out. So tell me in the comments what the difference is so that I can tell you whether it's right or wrong. So the theme for the National Technology Day this year was Yantra or Yugantar, for advancing new technology, research and acceleration. So Yugantar for advancing new technology, research and acceleration. So that's Yantra. I would say just remember the short form Yantra as the theme of National Technology Day. Okay, in fact, the translation of Yantra would be device or machine, right? Finally, we have the National Space Day. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because we'll have a separate session planned on all of the news related to space. It's a favorite topic for Clat and for all competitive exams. Okay, so Space Day in India happens on the 23rd of August, which commemorates the soft landing of the Vikram lander, which was part of Chandrayaan 3 at a point known as the Shiv Shakti point, as named by the government. Okay, so it commemorates the soft landing of Vikram, which is the lander of Chandrayaan 3 at Shiv Shakti point on the moon. Okay, and this year's theme was Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities. Remember, Aryabhat was also the name of India's first artificial satellite. And 2025 is commemorating 50 years of Aryabhat. Okay, but let me not get carried away. I'm going to help you cover it in great depth in one of our future sessions. So now, finally, I think the thing you'll probably hate the most in today's session are the international observances that are taking place this year or next year or in this decade. Okay, so I've put all of these on one slide so you have an opportunity to digest it. So first of all, there is a day which is observed called the World Science Day for Peace and Development. This is something that's upcoming. It's coming up in the next 4 or 5 days. So that's the World Science Day for Peace and Development. That's going to happen on the 10th of November. And its theme this year is an alliteration. Remember, for English, what's an alliteration? Where successive words start with the same letter. So the theme this year is Trust, Transformation, and Tomorrow, the science we need for 2050. Okay, so that's this day and the theme for this day. Next, I'll tell you the year. So we are done with the day. Now let's get to the year. This year, 2025, is being observed as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. The International Year for Quantum Science and Technology, which they say they're commemorating because it's been about 100 years since the theory of quantum mechanics was created and it gained ground. Okay? Link this to this year's Nobel Physics winner. Remember from our first session, even before we began the last lab revision, remember from our first session, the acronym for physics, MJJ, Michel John John. Okay, Michel John John for what? For MQMT, for macroscopic quantum mechanical tunneling and energy quantization in electrical circuits. So link that Nobel Prize in Physics to this year being observed as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. And finally, we have these 2 decades. Okay, this is very interesting. we have these 2 decades which are being observed by the UN. So a whole 10-year period where something is being observed. So first is the decade which started last year in 2024 and is going on till 2033. That's the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development. Okay, the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development. So that's from 2024 to 2033. The second one, which is very important. Okay, let me flag this for you again. This is very important because one or two environmental topics are related to this. So the last point on this slide is the UN Decade of Action for Cryospheric Sciences. Okay, the UN Decade for Action for Cryospheric Sciences. Now, first, let's get it out of the way for English and also for GK. What's the cryosphere? Okay, now you must have heard of words like this which end with sphere, right? Ecosphere, which is the sum and substance of the environment on Earth. Biosphere, the sum and substance of all living organisms on Earth. Hydrosphere, the sum and substance of all the water on Earth, right? So here we have cryosphere. This is the sum and substance of all the water on Earth that's available in the form of ice or snow. Okay, I know that's a little bit niche, but 2025 to 2034 is the International Decade of Action for Cryospheric Sciences. Now, why did I tell you that this is something that's very important this year? For two reasons. Because not only is 2025 to 2034 the International Decade of Action for Cryospheric Sciences, but this year, 2025, is also being observed as the International Year of Glacier Preservation. Not just that, from this year, a new day has been created, which is a day to commemorate the importance of glaciers. So what is that day? It is one day before World Water Day. So 22nd of March is World Water Day and 21st of March is the International Day for Glaciers. Okay, so three things related to ice, snow, and glaciers and the cryosphere. The day, the International Day of Glaciers on the 21st of March. The year, the International Year for Glacier Preservation, that's 2025. And finally, the International Decade of Action for Cryospheric Sciences. That's 2025 to 2034. Okay, very important. Please don't skip all the important days. If you look at the past few years, days have been asked almost, if not every year, every second year. Okay. And usually environmental days are asked. In the past, I believe questions on World Wetlands Day and World Water Day have featured in the exam in the new pattern. Okay. So that's why I'm doing these. I know it's a little bit excruciating. There are so many observances throughout the year, but we have to power ahead and try to do as many of them as we can and try to remember them as we go into the exam. Okay, so that's it for the science and technology observances. We'll do all of the environmental observances on a separate session, in a separate session on the environment. Okay, finally, the last 2 points, 2 officers or appointments related to science. I already told you that the president of CSIR, or the Council on Scientific and Industrial Research, is the Prime Minister. The other top official on science in India is known as the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. So that right now, or that office is held by Professor Ajay Kumar Sood. Okay. So these 2 people related to science I wanted to mention, and you should be aware of who they are. Now, we've been powering ahead. So we've covered number one, the food related topics. And number two, we've covered the science and technology related topics, especially the Vigyan Puraskar. The final topic I have in mind for today is related to the International Solar Alliance. Okay. So you all, I am sure, have heard about the ISA. And just last week, the 8th assembly of the International Solar Alliance was held in India. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's do it chronologically. Let's do the core details. And then I'll finally bring you to the International Solar Alliance's 8th assembly, which just happened in October 2025. So remember, two countries are associated with launching the International Solar Alliance. Those are India and France. Okay, now, before I come back to the Solar Alliance, I want to remind you of three other things which have been co-launched, where one of the countries involved is France. Okay, so number one, you have here the International Solar Alliance was co-launched or co-founded by India and France at COP21 of UNFCCC in Paris in 2015. Okay. Second, in 2025, the third UN Oceans Conference was held in the city of Nice in France, which was co-hosted by France and the country of Costa Rica. Number three, France and Saudi Arabia were the co-chairs of the high-level international conference on the question of Palestine and the Israel-Palestine conflict and relating to the implementation of the two-state solution. So the high-level international conference on Palestine was co-hosted by Saudi Arabia and France. So that's number three. And fourth, India and France co-chaired the AI Action Summit, which was held in Paris in 2025. So these are four initiatives which have been launched either this year or previously. Three of them launched this year. And the fourth, of course, is the International Solar Alliance. Okay. If you've missed any of those, please go back to the video. You can rewind and have a look at it again. Okay. What I'm trying to do is to link as many topics to as many other things as I can, so we are able to achieve a comprehensive coverage by the time we reach the exam on the 7th of December. So ISA gets launched in 2025. So you must see the rhyming. It's in 2015 and it's now 2025. So whenever history rhymes, you get an question in the exam. Okay. So remember this, ISA launched at COP21 in 2015 in Paris, co-launched by India and France. Now, where is it headquartered? It's headquartered in the city of Gurgaon, which has been renamed as Gurugram in a spree of renamings over the last 10 years. Okay. Remember that this is the first international organization, the first intergovernmental organization to be headquartered in India. Okay, so that's absolutely important. As of 2025, there are three international organizations which are headquartered in India. Which are they? The International Solar Alliance at Gurugram, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, in New Delhi, and the latest, the International Big Cats Alliance, once again to be headquartered in New Delhi. Okay. Now, there's always some controversy about how many countries are part of this organization. Remember, some countries are just signatories, meaning they have signed the ISA agreement, while other countries have signed the agreement and ratified it. People who have done both are called members. People who have just signed are called signatories. The latest press release of the government, the source is Press Information Bureau, This was announced around the 8th Assembly in October. There are 125 members and signatories total. It is a little bit tougher to ascertain. I know all sorts of sources online say all sorts of different things, but the latest source I've consulted, which is only 1 week old, says in total there are 125 members plus signatories. Now, I know there's a lot of confusion on this among some of you. This body has a director general and a separate president. Okay. The president of the alliance and the president of the assembly of the alliance are the same people. That's India's Minister of New and Renewable Energy, Prahlad Joshi. He is the president. Okay. Who is the director general of the alliance? He is the person who will actually do the work and head the secretariat in Gurgaon. It is Ashish Khanna. Okay. So that's the leadership. So we've done the launching and the history. When, we've done where, that's the headquarters. We've done who are the members and signatories, 125 in total. Who is leading? So what's the leadership? The president and the director general. And finally, the 8th session of the ISA assembly happened from the 27th to 30th of October in 2025. We are going to see in one of the next slides the latest initiatives that have been launched. I hope you've noted from the slide the two important schemes related to solar energy in India. That's PM Kusum and PM SGMBY. So what's PM Kusum? Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Utthan Maha Abhiyan. So Kisan is farmer, Urja is energy, Suraksha is security, Evam is and, Utthan upliftment, and Maha Abhiyan. So great movement or great initiative or basically that. So that's PM Kusum. The second is PM SGMBY or Prime Minister Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, which was launched last year in 2024 to subsidize the installation of domestic rooftop solar panels. Okay, now I'm going to skip a slide for a second and show you a few miscellaneous points. The Minister of New and Renewable Energy, we've already done. He's also the president of the ISA Assembly and the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Two full forms I want to mention. One is the government company dealing with solar energy. It's called SECI, SECI, the Solar Energy Corporation of India. And the other is IRENA. So this is an international body relating to renewable energy. So its full form is the International Renewable Energy Agency, and it's headquartered in Madsar city in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, so those are the miscellaneous details I wanted to do. But finally, for today's session, let's focus on the initiatives which have been launched, mainly led by India. Initiatives are under the umbrella of the International Solar Alliance, and they have just been announced between 27th and 30th of October 2025. Okay, so basically 5 broad things. On the left they're mentioned, and on the right are just the full forms of the first 3. Okay, the last 2, 4 and 5 are kind of self-explanatory, so I haven't mentioned them separately on the right. Okay, so what are these 5? Number 1 is the Sunrise program. So what is this? It is the solar upcycling network for recycling, innovation, and stakeholder engagement. Okay, the solar upcycling network for recycling, innovation, and stakeholder engagement. What is the idea? How to use and utilize the waste generated by solar energy production. Now you may be wondering, what waste? but those solar panels are not going to last forever, right? So what do you do with them? Can they be recycled? If not, what should be done with them? That's the objective of this mission, the Sunrise program. The second is called the OSOWOG program. Now, this is something, this OSOWOG was sort of a motto of the Solar Alliance from the beginning. So it stands for one sun, one world, one grid. Okay. The idea of this is to interconnect the solar energy grids of countries in a particular region, in various regions of the world. Now it's being launched as an official program, so it can be implemented on the ground. So that's OSOWOG. The third, something being established in India, that's GCC, the Global Capability Center. Okay, the Global Capability Center. And the idea is, the phrase which was given by the PM is a Silicon Valley for solar. Okay, so this is a center which is going to be appointed or which is going to be created in India. Again, what is its objective? It is going to act as a center for research and capacity building in terms of solar energy. So it can help other countries develop and promote solar energy as well. So Sunrise, OSOWOG, GCC, top three. Number four, a memorandum of understanding was signed for the procurement or buying under the SIDS platform. What is SIDS? This is an important full form for environmental news as well. SIDS is Small Island Developing States. Okay. So the idea is this is a platform through which small island developing states can figure out how and where to procure from what products related to solar energy, as well as parts which are needed to harness solar energy. And the final one is a $400 million Africa solar facility. Remember, the ultimate objective is to develop the global solar facility. Facility here means fund, from which money can be spent to develop and harness solar energy. Its first phase has been launched. It is known as the Africa Solar Facility, focusing on the continent of Africa. How much is it? It's $400 million. Okay, so that covers the initiatives launched at the 8th International Solar Assembly or the ISA's assembly. Okay, final thing, there's this phrase known as sunshine countries. So it's a phrase which is used to describe which countries are the best for harnessing solar energy. Those are the countries which receive the most sunshine, receive it most directly and for most of the year. So how do we define sunshine countries? These are the countries which fall between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn with the equator in the middle. Okay, so that's the concept of sunshine country. So it's a word which has been bandied about relating to the International Solar Alliance. Though any country can, of course, join the ISA. Now, what I want you to do is quickly have a look as I take you through it. What we've covered today is the 80th anniversary of the FAO in this year, 2025. We've done the basic details when it was established, the Director General, the Indian Director General, its motto, its headquarters, and India's position as a founding member. Okay, 80th anniversary is important because this year is also the 80th anniversary of UNESCO and the United Nations itself. Finally, we saw that SDG 2 is the one which calls for zero hunger. Next, we saw World Food Day, which commemorates the establishment of the FAO. And this year, a food and agriculture museum has also been launched. We also saw the theme for the 2025 World Food Day. Basically, remember, hand in hand. Okay. Next, we saw the 20th Global Hunger Index. On what basis it ranks countries, what is India's rank and score, how it is described as serious. Finally, who publishes it. Next, we saw the World Food Prize. So we saw details about the father of the Green Revolution and the father of the Green Revolution in India, the first and latest winners of the World Food Prize, the 100th birth anniversary of MS Swaminathan this year. In his honor, the first MS Swaminathan Award for Food and Peace has been established. So that's there. Next, we saw a whole bunch of miscellaneous details about food and agriculture, especially Poshan Abhiyan, Poshan Mah, the National Nutrition Week, the ministers related to food and agriculture, the Food Security Act, the NFSA, next year being commemorated as the International Year of the Woman Farmer, the Codex Alimentarius Commission, and Minimum Support Price. Next, we saw the Vigyan Puraskar, its categories and latest winners. We saw India's Science and Tech Days, the Science Day, the Tech Day, and the Space Day. Then we saw the international observances on science and technology. We saw the World Science Day for Peace and Development. We saw the International Year for Quantum Science and Technology. We saw the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development from 2024 to 2033. And finally, the International Decade of Action for Cryospheric Sciences 2025 to 2034. I also flagged for you the International Year of Glacier Preservation and the International Day of Glaciers. Finally, we saw a little bit about the CSIR and the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. The last topic for today was the ISA, its basic details, the launch, the headquarters, its members and signatories, the leadership, the President and the Director General, its assembly, and the two important Indian solar schemes. We also saw the important programs launched this year through the ISA, especially remember Sunrise, Osowog, and the $400 million Africa Solar Facility. And lastly, I told you a little bit about the Solar Energy Corporation of India and IRENA. So that for today brings us to the end of our session. I hope, despite some of the boring elements of the discussion today, I hope you gleaned a lot of information from it. We are trying in this last lap revision to do as many topics as we can from the year and do them as comprehensively as possible. I hope we are succeeding in that, and I hope that you are finding these sessions useful. So let us know if you have any feedback. Let us know if there are other topics you want us to cover. We'll absolutely take your feedback on board. I always find it lovely to meet you all online. Basically, we're trying to do it every day. So we're going to keep doing this between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. or sometimes from 8 to 9 p.m. every day. So you can subscribe to our channel, Clat Possible, so that you come back each day in this last lap. And I hope we can take you forward and take you to the end of your Clat journey. So best of luck and see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much.